Okay, this video is going to show you how to use the K-5 ESL progress reports in case you were unable to attend the meeting or just need a refresher. So each of you will be shared in to this document right here called ESL progress report links, and you'll notice that there are 4 progress reports for each level. From here, you'll be able to grab the Google Sheet for the progress report that you need. We're doing it this way so that at the end of first semester every year, you can come back to this Google Doc and grab the sheet from this link. That way, in case we make any updates, you'll always have the most up-to-date progress report at the end of semester 1. We will never make an update between semester 1 and semester 2 so that you know they always look the same and operate the same in second semester as they did first semester. So what you'll do is we're going to play with kindergarten level 1. So you'll click where it says kindergarten level 1. You'll notice this link will appear and you'll click on that. The next thing you'll see is a notification, and what it's doing is forcing you to make a copy of the report. That way, we ensure that the original document, the original sheet that everyone is starting with is the same and reliable across the board. So you'll click Make a Copy. And now, if you look up here, here's your copy of the kindergarten level 1 ESL progress report. You can change this name to anything that you want. If you want to add the year in, 2015, 2016, that's fine, whatever you want. This copy is now accessible through your Google Drive. So you can access it again later if you need to. Again, at the end of semester 1, we always want you going back to the ESL Progress Reports link page, this right here, to get the newest, most updated version of the progress reports. This will allow us, much like your phone operating system, to make updates, whether they're minor or not, and notify you of what those updates are via email, around October or November, well before you ever actually start working on this. So, here's your progress report. What you'll notice in this first tab, you've got students, English, Spanish, and Somali. Each progress report can house 10 students. Across the top, you'll notice the standards for each progress report. And then here you'll notice some comment boxes. And I'll explain how to use all of that. So here you can simply type in the student's name, or you can copy and paste it from a roster into this column. It all works the same. Then you just follow down the row and type in the score of whatever that student may have earned for each of these standards. Beautiful. Now, if we go over to the English progress report, what you'll notice is we didn't change the name. Let's change the name to Bill so you can see how it sucks. All right, it'll automatically take the name from the first tab and put it into this cell. You'll notice that the date here in this cell will always be current, so you'll never have to touch or change that. You'll also notice how it's drawn in or sucked in your scores that you typed on the first tab. Okay? This is a 2-page progress report, or 1-page front and back. Again, it's going to go ahead and take the student's name and put it on the second page with whatever scores are associated for each standard. What's great about this is it does the exact same thing to the Spanish version. You'll notice his name is here. The date will always stay current, and the scores have also been sucked over. Same with Somali. Okay? Now, I've got a demo ESL progress report also kindergarten level 1, that you'll have access to that you can look at. The important thing that you want to look at here is, what should I not touch? What can I play with a little? And what can I just go crazy and get in there with? So I've got it color coordinated red, yellow, and green. Red stuff, hands off, don't touch. And what that means is there's so much formatting and coding going on that by typing anywhere into somewhere that's red, you could really be causing problems where it won't print the way that you're hoping it will. And I'll show you what I mean. If we go over here to Spanish, you'll notice the whole thing's red. Touch nothing. Same with Somali. The whole thing's red. Shouldn't touch a darn thing here. With English, it's a little different. Again, we have spots that are red. We want you to leave those alone. These boxes are red because it's taking information from the Students tab and populating it automatically into these cells. Touch a little, these are your comment boxes. Right? So whatever you type into a comment box in English will be automatically translated into Spanish and into Somali. That's why we don't have you in any way, shape, or form messing with any of these pages. Okay, so this will always be here as a reference for you to see what to touch and what not to touch. Let's go back to our actual one. So we're in here in red, or in English, and we want to say, identify a few key words. He still needs to learn colors and shapes. Automatically translated in Spanish, automatically translated in Somali. Things to keep in mind, you'll notice that it requires more characters to type something in Spanish and Somali as it does in English. So be aware of that, because if your text that you're typing in overflows, it will adjust the layout of the entire progress report, and you won't get that perfect 1- and 2-sided printout page like you're hoping for. Okay? Something else we've added here. Some of your comments may be similar for multiple students. So I've added some boxes here on the Students tab. If you're going to be copying and pasting a lot of comments, similar comments to different students, type them in these boxes first. Okay, because the formatting for these boxes is already done and similar to the other boxes. So what you'll do is you'll type whatever you want, and you can either hit Control-C, or you can right-click and copy. I like Control-C, it's a little faster. Then you can go over here to your English, Control-V, or right-click and paste, completely up to you. And you'll see that it carries that information over and translates accordingly. And this is handy because when you get down here to student 7, who may also be struggling with the same thing, you can go in here and just copy and paste and cherry pick the students that need those comments. So everything we've done here is try to make this process as efficient as possible. Now some tips that I would recommend if this was me. I would only do 5 students on one progress report. And here's why. These remaining lines, okay, let's just assume that we're going to go ahead and take this. These remaining lines down here, I would then use for these exact same students for semester 2. And this would allow me to quickly look up and see that Bill was a 2, he's still a 2. Bill was a 2, but now he's a 3. Bill was a 1, and he's a 2. 1, 1. We were actually able, he was here long enough that we were able to assess and evaluate this score, so it's no longer in A. 3, 1, and 2. And one of the main things it's going to do is obviously give you a quick reference to how you evaluated them first semester when you're putting in your second semester scores, as well as just for clerical purposes, make sure there's no mistakes or errors. It also gives you an easy way to look back at the comments that you made first semester versus second semester. You will want to go back and change those because obviously second semester, oh, he should have learned his colors and shapes by now. So there may be a new thing that you would like the parents to work on. So you could say work on classroom items like pencil, restroom, chalkboard, and so on. Okay? You don't have to do that. That's just a recommendation of how I see myself using this as efficiently as possible. When it's time to print, you'll click on the tab that you need to print first. You'll obviously probably print in English for everyone. Go to File, Print. You want no grid lines. Okay? We want it to be in portrait. We want it to fit the width. Just double check here that it's obviously a letter size 8.5 by 11. And we're going to go current sheet, not all sheets, current sheet. You will print. And this is how you'll be able to check to make sure that everything's lining up correctly. So we have 10 sheets of paper, 20 pages. Again, we're printing front and back. And you'll notice when you look at this, that once we get rid of all the grid lines, it looks pretty clean. You should have the same header, student's name on both first and the second page. Coming down here, there's our second student. And you can see how this kind of carries over. Now, you would only need to print, if this was first semester, the first 5 progress reports. Right? If you're doing the system that I'm talking about, where I'm going to use this exact same sheet for second semester. So pages, I would just go 1 through 10. Okay, you can see it's 5 sheets of paper, it's 5 progress reports, which is exactly what I'm looking for because I'm going to do 5 students on each sheet first semester. If this second semester, you would print pages 11 through 20. All right. Get that out of the way. Then, again, you'll do the same thing for your Spanish. Click on Spanish, File, Print. Make sure that you have no grid lines, your portrait, your fit to width, 8.5 by 11, and current sheet. Now with your Spanish, you could print them all, or you could just cherry pick the students who you know need Spanish. If it was me, I would make sure that all the students who need a Spanish copy of this are on the same sheet. I would try to put all my Somali students on the same sheet. That way I'm not worrying about cherry picking the Spanish and the Somali each from the same sheet. You can see how that works relatively easily. It should look exactly the same, everything translated over. And then lastly, as problems are identified, when we go back to the initial ESL progress report sheet document, on the second page of that, I've put some troubleshooting tips, and I'll continue to build this, again, as they come in. But a lot of these things are, like my pages aren't breaking correctly. Well, you want to check and make sure that you haven't typed too much into one comment box. You want to make sure that you have fit to width and portrait. You absolutely never want to type anything in columns H and over. Okay? And I'll show you what happens when you do. Let's say that I type in here by accident, just a JK, didn't even notice it. When you go to print, it's going to suck in column H now because there's data in there. See how that works? There it is right here. Okay? And now look how it's offset the entire alignment of everything. And now none of our stuff's going to print right. So if that happens, if you're noticing that you've got a big fat margin over here on the right, all you have to do, go over here to H and on, highlight it all. So you see I'm clicking on H and I'm just dragging to be on the safe side in case I accidentally type something in one of these columns too. Right click and delete. And you'll say delete H through L. That'll delete any data that may be in there on the whole sheet. And then you'll notice now when we go to print, again, we're portrait, fit to width, 8 by 11, current sheet, no grid lines. What you'll see is we've got our good format back. where everything's fitting and lining up.